Ahoy hoy fellow bookworms, my name is Caroline and I like to read books, so let's talk about them. Today's video is a wrap up of all the books that I read in January. My reading year got off to a pretty great start. I read 6 books this month and I enjoyed all of them, so let's go! First up, I read The Way of Kings Part 1 and The Way of Kings Part 2 by Brandon Sanderson, and together these make up Book 1 in the Stormlight Archive series. Overall, I really enjoyed these books. I will say that it took me a while to get into Part 1 just because there was so much world building at the beginning that I found it kind of confusing with how complex it was, but once I was into it, I was like so fucking into it. Part 1 is all the world building, and then Part 2 is like all the drama and all the excitement, and there was a point where I thought things couldn't really get any crazier for our characters, and then like 100 pages from the end, things just went from 0 to 100 so fucking quick, except things were already like close to 100, so they just went even higher, and it was so good. I really enjoyed these 2 books, and I'm very keen to continue the series. After that, I read book 12 of the Walking Dead comics by Robert Kirkman, and I really enjoyed this, especially the ending, but there was a point in the middle where I didn't really think I was going to like it. There were a few things which happened and felt kind of out of character for certain characters, and I just wasn't completely happy with them, but by the end all those issues had kind of come good and it was just so exciting. There was something in this that had been spoiled for me, but it was still just so amazing. I love this series. Next up, I read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and guys, I was so not ready for this book. Like, I went into it knowing it was sad, knowing it made a lot of people cry and all that, and I was still like, it won't be that bad, and I sobbed when I finished this book. Like, it was so emotional, it kind of fucked me up. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. It follows a young boy named Connor whose mother has cancer, and he's kind of struggling with the reality of that, but trying to put on a tough face for her. And then there's this monster that starts visiting him, telling him these stories and all those sorts of things, and it's just such a beautiful story. I do kind of wish that I bought the edition with the pictures in it, because a lot of people have told me that they really add to the story and make it more real and emotional. I have the movie cover, which I don't dislike. I'm just gonna go to the bookstore one day and look at the pictures in the illustrated one and probably cry again. The next book I read in January is The Sidekicks by Will Kostakis, and I actually met the author of this book about 2 days after I finished it, which was super cool because he was just so lovely. This is an Australian young adult book and I really enjoyed it. Basically, we have this group of 4 guys who are really close friends, but the one who is the kind of glue holding them together dies in an accident, and suddenly the other 3 are struggling with grief and they don't really know how to be friends with each other anymore now that this friend isn't there, and they're struggling in their final year of high school and stuff like that, and it was just super emotional. Each of our 3 main characters get a perspective section throughout the book, and it was good, but they kind of just revisited the same scenes, and I'm just not a fan of that kind of repetition. The final book that I read in January is Scythe by Schusterman, and I really enjoyed this book, which makes me happy because I was excited for it and I'd kind of hyped it up, so it's super satisfying to actually have it be a good book. Overall, I'd probably give this book like a 3.5 or 4-star rating, and I have done a full spoiler-free review of it, so if you're interested, be sure to click that link. Those are all the books that I read in January. I was kind of hoping to read more this month, but I started playing Skyrim again and it consumed an alarming amount of my time. Anyway guys, be sure to let me know down in the comments what your favorite book that you read in January was. I upload videos Wednesdays and Saturdays, so be sure to like this one and subscribe to my channel and stay tuned on those days for more bookish goodness. Toodaloo!